Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dakota's Political Circle. And today I want to talk to you guys about how Joe Biden has just um, pardoned his son Hunter Biden. And if you know Hunter Biden, he's probably one of the worst people imaginable. Hunter Biden, he's done drugs. He's been like had stuff to do with Russia. He's done many horrible things in his life. He's even had stuff against him that were with children, like sexual misconduct things with children. Um, like basically Hunter Biden is so many bad things in this world. He's a pedophile. He's a horrible person. He does drugs. He hurts people. He's just a really bad person, and he's President Joe Biden's son. And Joe Biden did the dumbest thing imaginable. And remember, Joe Biden specifically before he pardoned Hunter, he literally said that no one's above the law. No one's above the law. But then he pardons Hunter Biden, which is someone that shouldn't be pardoned. Period. Probably the one figure that's on the Democrat side that literally no Democrat should side with, because there's literally no reason to. Like, he's just a horrible person, and you pardon a criminal just because he's your son. Like, that's just crazy to me. That's just a crazy thing to think of. He says no one's above the law, but then he pardons his own son Hunter when he has committed so many crimes. And remember, he has committed he literally he literally pardoned him from crimes from 2014 to 2024. So that means any crime between then that he committed or like possibly committed, they cannot charge him for whatsoever. So that's just crazy. But yeah, Hunter Biden pardon will undermine the party's self-proclaimed authority on rule of law, which is very, very actually that's very, very true, because pardoning Hunter Biden is probably one of the worst moves they could have done in like at all. That's like if Jeffrey Epstein was alive, you pardon Jeffrey Epstein. Like, that's literally basically what they're doing right now. Like, pardoning someone that should never be pardoned whatsoever. That's like if they pardoned like Jeffrey Dahmer or something. There's just something crazy. But let me get into the article first before I keep talking about it. So Julian Epstein says President Biden's sweeping pardon for his son on Sunday Democrats undermine self-proclaimed authority of the rule of law from Democrats. While people can relate to a father's attempt to help his son, this is a tough sell to American people and extremely bad branding for a president that most people have already feel failed. So yeah, I agree with that as well. The White House on Sunday evening announced that the president pardoned Hunter for any crimes the 54-year-old has committed or may have committed from January 2014 to December 2024. So that is a massive gap. The sweeping nature of this pardon on all-you-can-eat, get-out-of-jail-free card for illegal activity since 2014 will certainly raise more questions, as it covers alleged paid-to-play activities, which basically Republicans were critics of this. So and they said, oh, the Dems and Biden said, oh, that's not true. None of that's true. And then he pardons him for all of those acts between that time that were alleged. So do you really think that he's not done something wrong? A federal court found Hunter guilty in June on 3 counts of federal gun charges, and he pleaded guilty in September in a separate felony case. At the very minimum, this will completely undermines the Democrats' authority on the rule of law, taxing the rich and background checks, which is literally true. They're literally pardoning someone they literally don't support whatsoever. They don't support guns. They don't support someone that does stuff like that. And but President Biden is pardoning him because, oh, that's my son. That's the reason I'm pardoning him. He didn't do anything wrong. Like, that's just false, completely false. Biden and those around him clearly misled the American people about his mental capacity for a second term, which is factual. With this pardon, they now appear to have misled the American people about their moral support on question of democracy and rule of law, which very, very true. And it makes sense why Biden didn't do this during the election, because Harris would have got destroyed by Trump even more than than she did. The White House cannot immediately reach out for a comment. 2 times Biden said he would not pardon his son. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So Biden wrote in a statement announcing his decision to pardon his son Hunter. Prosecution was politically motivated, which is crazy. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently, which makes zero sense. Trump previously predicted Biden would pardon his son Hunter, which I expected as well. The charges in this case came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the Justice Department unraveled in the courtroom with a number of political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. So Biden thinks it was politically motivated, basically. Hunter also issued a statement after his father's death, which I don't really care, but I've admitted and taken responsibility for my mistakes during the darkest days of addiction, mistakes that have been exploited to publicly humiliate and shame me, and for my family for political sport. It was literally horrible things he did, and he's saying it was political sport. That makes no sense at all. So, in the theories of addiction, I squander many opponents and advantages. In the recovery, we can bring the opportunity to make amends. Like, come on, that's just crazy to me. But there's not much more to say right there. But several times, Joe Biden has said in the past that he would not pardon his son Hunter. He said it publicly, and he's also said that no one's above the law. And then he pardons Hunter. He lies. He basically lies to the American people. It's just a really sad thing to do. Honestly, I would have expected maybe Biden to give Trump a solid and say, "Oh, I'll pardon you if you pardon my son Hunter." But instead he's like, "Oh, let me just pardon Hunter." The only way Biden can get out of this mess, at least as a president, I mean, he's already lost the election, so it doesn't even matter. But if he wants to at least be remembered in some aspect as a good president, he needs to pardon Trump now. If he doesn't, then, I mean, his presidency was already horrible, but it's even more horrible now because it shows that he is basically a corrupted official, which everyone already knew. And then let me go to this article. I want to show you what this really means for Trump, because this can actually be a political power move in a way for Trump, actually. And I'll actually tell you why in this. The President Joe Biden did not just protect his son, he also handed Donald Trump a template to shield his own allies and stretch the pardon power even further. And now, obviously, this article is going to be a little bit controversial, and also this article is probably going to say bad things about Trump, but I'll actually say the good things as well. Trump now has a fresh precedent and political cover to issue expansive pardons absolving his allies, not only on specific offenses, but even any undetermined crimes that they have made committed. With the singular exception of Gerald Ford's pardon of Richard Nixon, no modern American president had ever issued such a broad clemency until Joe Biden pardoned his son. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. The younger Biden is now effectively cleared of legal consequences that he had made broken on federal law over nearly 11-year period. Those terms are so unusual, and the process leading to it was so secretive. In the final days of Trump's first term, at least one close ally, Matt Gaetz, requested a similarly sweeping pardon according to congressional testimony, but top White House aides made it clear it was a non-starter. Now, possibly that could actually happen. Now that Joe Biden has crossed the Rubicon, Trump associates say it will be harder to restrain Trump next term. He now has a ready-made rationale to follow suit. Now, I think this is where it gets into it. It certainly creates an acceptability for that model. Trump, to be sure, took a freewheeling approach to pardon in his first term, granting clemency to cronies like, I'm not going to say cronies, but like former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. You got Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, and Steve Bannon. All of those pardons, though, were tied to specific investigations and crimes those men have been accused of or convicted of. During the 2024 campaign, Trump pledged to harness the pardon power even more aggressively. Most notably, he promised to pardon many of the rioters. This is what I was talking about. This is what I was about to talk about. He promised to pardon many of the rioters who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. But this is exactly what I'm saying. Because of what Joe Biden did, Trump can now pardon. I mean, he could do it anyway, but now he has more of an excuse to pardon the January 6th rioters that people think are controversial for doing what they did. But he can pardon every single one of them for what the acts they did. Because of Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden just pardoned his son, now it's not going to matter if Trump does this. The left can go crazy for Trump pardoning the hostages, the January 6th hostages, and no one can really say anything. They can say what they want, but at the end of the day, there's not going to be anything scrutinized for it because Joe Biden just pardoned his son for even worse acts. And almost immediately after Hunter Biden was announced, Trump hinted at justification for granting broad clemency to January 6th defendants. Does this pardon given by Joe to Hunter include January 6th hostages, he asked. So he's probably going to be doing exactly what he said. Joe Biden deviated from past practices by invoking fairness, rather than acceptance of responsibility. As the putative criteria of pardoning his son, said Samuel Morrison, an attorney who worked for his office, Trump is now freer to invoke the same reasoning to grant broad protections to his own allies. So there could be many, many pardons out there because of this. Like I don't know if it says specifically. I'll read it just in case. Resisting broad pardons in Trump's first term. Yeah, there was sometimes that Trump resisted some pardons. If I could look through here, if there is any that I can see that are really crazy to look at. But yeah, it doesn't really talk about specific ones, really. Yeah, Democrats are bracing themselves. It doesn't really talk about much more. But the specific pardons I'm thinking of, he could pardon January 6 hostages. He can pardon himself. He can pardon himself from possibly 2016 or 2015 to 2024. So literally any claims that are against him when it comes to election fraud, all of those types of things, it could be taken away. And now obviously those cases have closed. They can still be reopened. That's why I think it's a good idea for Trump to still pardon himself if Joe Biden does not. If Joe Biden does end up pardoning Trump, then that's a great thing. But if Trump has to pardon himself, he really should. Just in case that does happen in the future. Because you never know that after his presidency, those cases could come back to haunt him. Now, I think they would still be considered within the statute of limitations. But if not, then, I wouldn't worry too much. But it's still a good idea to still pardon yourself just in case. As well as, they could try to do something for the 2024 presidency, something they could try to find him on and then try to get him in court as well. So it's a good idea to do. He could possibly wait until close to the end of his term to pardon himself as well. So you never know. Then he could pardon the January 6th hostages. Like I said, he can pardon specific allies. He could pardon Matt Gaetz. He can pardon. There's several people. I believe Steve Bannon is one of them. Rudy Giuliani. I think there's some more as well. I don't know specifics. I know there's Alex Jones, but I'm not sure if he'd pardon Alex Jones, and I'm not sure if it's possible to pardon Alex Jones for the Sandy Hook thing, because I know it needs to be federal, but I'm not sure if it works the same way for that case. But if it does, he should definitely pardon Alex Jones as well. There's several people that can definitely be taken care of for Trump because of what Joe Biden just did. But I did want to talk to you guys about this today, just let you know that basically Biden did one of the dumbest things he could ever do. But it also helps Trump massively. This massively helps Trump now. So it's a massive gain for Trump, but a horrible thing for Biden. But anyway, guys, I did want to talk to you guys about this today. Not too much else to talk about right now, but if there is anything that comes up, I'll definitely try to talk about it. I do know that Trump's cabinet picks should be done soon. I believe he only needs 2 more, and I'll be posting my video on that. I already have a big list of things I'll be talking about in that video. I even made up a document and everything like that, so we can just talk about specific ones, why they're good, why they're bad. There's only one I really, really dislike so far in the cabinet picks. I really hate that pick so much, but I don't think it's too much of an issue. But all the rest of them are actually pretty good picks, and I'll tell you exactly why in that video. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Joe Biden pardoning Hunter, and do you think Trump should have the same amount of pardoning power that Joe Biden just did to cover, his son, his drug-addicted son? But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.